Skol Nation, stop right now. U.S. Bank Stadium just got struck by breaking news. And one fact is already carved in ice for interceptions in a single game. The quarterback disaster deepens. A franchise legend walked away, and Justin Jefferson's post-game moment with Sam Darnold has the entire NFL buzzing about trade rumors. Insiders warned us this morning, and here's the first payoff. Those for interceptions, they came from an undrafted rookie making his first NFL start, and the Vikings got shut out for the first time in 3 years. If you bleed purple louder than you hate the Packers, hit like and subscribe right now. We start with the quarterback crisis that has Kevin O'Connell scrambling for answers. Stay locked. There's a double cliffhanger at the end that involves Green Bay. Closed-door meeting. Whiteboard covered in names. 3 executives, 1 desperate head coach, and a position that's bleeding the season away. The question hanging over Minneapolis isn't if they need help at quarterback. It's who can save this sinking ship. The answer: 2 names that make you either nod in agreement or throw your phone across the room. Dan Orlovsky just dropped a bomb on Get Up, and the names are Daniel Jones and Mac Jones. Let that sink in. Minnesota's quarterback play has been a disaster. J. McCarthy returned from injury, struggled in limited action, then suffered a concussion against Green Bay. Max Brosmer, an undrafted rookie free agent, got his first NFL start in Seattle and threw for interceptions while getting sacked 4 times. The Vikings scored 0 points. The offense couldn't crack 10 points for the second straight game. And it's the 5th time in 6 games they failed to reach 20. This isn't a slump, this is a crisis. Here's the math. McCarthy is 2-4 as a starter, with 6 touchdowns against 10 interceptions. Brosmer finished 19 of 30 for 126 yards, and those for picks in his debut. The Vikings cannot run it back next season with McCarthy and Brosmer as the only options, and Orlovsky is screaming for Minnesota to bring in high-end competition. According to Orlovsky, the likeliest way to keep Justin Jefferson happy is to pursue Daniel Jones or Mac Jones. Daniel Jones will be a free agent. Mac Jones is under contract with San Francisco, but could be a trade target. The free agent market won't be great. The draft class is weak, and you can't draft another unproven kid to compete with McCarthy, because then you have to question marks battling for the same job. This is a rumor, but sources close to the organization say Kevin O'Connell has been privately evaluating veteran options since mid-November, and the front office knows Jefferson's patience is wearing thin. Bryant McFadden said it best on CBS Sports HQ. For the first time under O'Connell, Minnesota is showing an evident weakness at the most critical position in football. When you have a head coach known for getting the best out of quarterbacks, and both your guys are drowning, that's not a development issue, that's a talent issue. Do you think Daniel Jones or Mac Jones can actually fix this? Drop your answer below. And if you believe the Vikings must upgrade at quarterback to keep Jefferson, smash that like button and let Packers fans know the North isn't theirs yet. But as massive as that quarterback crisis is, the next story cuts even deeper. Because while Minnesota searches for answers under center, a franchise legend just walked out the door, and the way it happened has the locker room shaken. Midnight decision. 1 phone call. A legend asks for his release, and the organization says yes. The player. Someone who bled purple for a decade. Someone who went undrafted out of division to Minnesota State Mankato and became a 2-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro. The name you already know, Adam Thielen. And the way this unfolded tells you everything about how far this season has fallen. Minnesota released Thielen on Monday, December 1st, so he can join a contending team for the rest of the season, which will be his final one. Thielen didn't even play in the 26-0 loss to Seattle on Sunday. He was a healthy scratch. He had already approached the front office about wanting out in the past week, and Kevin O'Connell accommodated the request. O'Connell spoke to reporters on Monday and said, "What I will say is just how much I appreciate Adam. What he means to me, the organization. I think Adam Thielen's a special person and a special player. I just wish him nothing but the best over these final few weeks of the year." Sounds like that might be the final few weeks of his career, and we wanted to make sure, after some dialogue, that we accommodated that. Here's the context. Minnesota brought Thielen back after his time with Carolina because of injuries at wide receiver. Justin Jefferson and Yalen Naylor had injuries in training camp, and Jordan Addison had a 3-game suspension. The Vikings needed bodies, and Thielen was a familiar face. But it didn't work. Thielen had just 8 receptions for 69 yards all season. He only had 2 catches in the first 3 games with Addison out. Once the depth chart settled, Thielen was buried behind Jefferson, Addison, Naylor, and younger guys like Tyjon Felton and Miles Price. O'Connell admitted the trade was a short-term solution that didn't pan out long-term. Obviously, it would be a major thing for the first 3 weeks. And then we haven't had a particular season where all 3 of your starters, once all available, have been all available. Now here's the costly part. Minnesota traded for Thielen. Carolina received a 2026 fifth-round pick and a 2027 fourth-round pick. The Vikings got a conditional 7th-rounder for 2026. They gave up TWO picks for a player who caught 8 passes and is now gone. That's not just a miscalculation, that's a waste. This is a rumor, but according to sources close to the locker room, Thielen's request to leave wasn't just about playing time. It was about the vibe. When a franchise legend who came back home asks out mid-season, that's a signal. O'Connell said the conversations were zero negativity, but the competitor in Thielen wanted to finish his career the right way, and Minnesota at 4-8 isn't that. Do you think the Vikings mishandled Thielen's return? Drop your take below. And if you believe this is just another sign of a season spiraling, hit that like button and let the NFL know Minnesota is hurting. But as painful as that goodbye is, the next story is the one that has the entire league talking. Because Justin Jefferson's post-game interaction with Sam Darnold didn't just raise eyebrows, it ignited trade rumors that could reshape the NFC. Post-game handshake to former teammates. One playing for a 9-3 contender, the other stuck on a 4-8 sinking ship. The camera captured it, the NFL posted it, and the internet exploded. The moment. Justin Jefferson and Sam Darnold sharing a conversation after Minnesota's 26-0 shutout loss to Seattle on Sunday, November 30th. The official NFL account posted, former teammates Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson share a moment post-game. On the surface, it's just the competitors being respectful. But when you add the context, it becomes a 5-alarm fire. Jefferson, a team captain and usually a spokesperson after games, refused to speak to media members following the loss. Alec Lewis of The Athletic reported, Justin Jefferson left the locker room after the Vikings lost today without talking to reporters. That's not normal. That's a message. Field Yates of ESPN piled on, writing, this season must be unbelievably frustrating for Justin Jefferson. Not sure any superstar wide receiver has received less help from his quarterback play this season than Jettis. Jefferson posted a career worst for receiving yards on just 2 receptions against Seattle. For yards, TWO catches. For a player who's averaged over 1,400 yards per season in his career. That's not a bad game, that's an insult. Here's the brutal truth. Minnesota let the successful NFL starters leave in free agency this offseason. Sam Darnold is now 8-4 with the Seahawks. Daniel Jones is 8-4 with the Indianapolis Colts. Both have had ups and downs, but both are winning. Meanwhile, the Vikings are 4-8 with J.J. McCarthy, Max Brosmer, and Carson Wentz combining for arguably the worst quarterback play in the league. Minnesota has a championship-caliber roster everywhere except quarterback, and Jefferson is watching his prime years evaporate. Kevin O'Connell is known for developing quarterbacks. He got career years out of Kirk Cousins and turned Darnold into a playoff quarterback last season. But this year, abject failure. McCarthy is 2-4 with 6 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Brosmer threw for picks in his first start. The Vikings didn't just fail to upgrade at quarterback, they downgraded. This is a rumor, but according to insiders close to the situation, Jefferson has already been the subject of widespread trade speculation. He's under contract through 2028 on a $140 million extension, so any movement is unlikely before next offseason. But if Minnesota doesn't show a real plan for the future at quarterback in 2026, it isn't outside the realm of possibility that Jefferson asks for a change of scenery. Ahead of 2027, that post-game moment with Darnold, that wasn't just the friends catching up. That was Jefferson seeing what could have been if Minnesota had kept the quarterback who helped them go 14-3 last season. Do you think Justin Jefferson will demand a trade if the Vikings don't fix the quarterback position? Drop your boldest prediction below. And if you believe Minnesota just wasted Jefferson's prime, smash that like button and let the front office know they're playing with fire. But the question that's haunting Minneapolis right now is simple. How do you keep a superstar happy when you can't figure out the most important position in football? That answer is coming, and it's bigger than anyone expects. 3 stories. 1 unraveling season. The quarterback position is in shambles. A franchise legend walked away mid-season. And the best wide receiver in football is watching his prime slip through his fingers. while former teammates win without him. Minnesota doesn't just have problems, Minnesota has a crisis of identity. This franchise went 14-3 last season with Sam Darnold, made the playoffs, and had the NFC on notice. Then they let Darnold walk, bet everything on J.J. McCarthy, and now they're 4-8 with the worst quarterback play in the league. SKOL Nation, this isn't a rebuild, this is a collapse. If the Vikings don't address quarterback this offseason, Justin Jefferson will ask out. The Adam Thielen release cost TWO draft picks for 8 receptions. Dan Orlovsky is begging them to bring in Daniel Jones or Mac Jones. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold is 8-4 in Seattle, Daniel Jones is 8-4 in Indianapolis, and Minnesota is sitting at home wondering how they fumbled to starting caliber quarterbacks in one offseason. Here's what I need from Skull Nation. Smash that like if you believe the Vikings just wasted an entire season. Drop a comment with your solution. Trade for Mac Jones, sign Daniel Jones, or ride with McCarthy. Subscribe because every subscriber makes Packers fans furious. The Vikings have $22 million in cap space. The question is whether they have the guts to fix this. And there's a rumor that Jefferson and O'Connell had a private conversation after the Seattle loss that could either salvage this relationship or fracture it beyond repair. That story drops next. SKOL Nation, the storm is here. Subscribe now.